Yeah, we're back for another video, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, however you are, I hope you're doing well today. Thanks for tuning in with us today. Don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button at the bottom of the video. You see it blinking, the like button, subscribe button. Do you see that right there? Yeah, please help me out. That's good. But at the same time, thank you for watching the video and supporting. That's already enough in a lot of ways. So let's get back into what we were talking about before, which was the idea versus the reality versus the truth, right? These three things in relationship to who you are, right? The idea of yourself versus the reality of yourself versus the truth of yourself, right? And as a quick recap, the idea of who you are is more of the feminine aspect of who you are, right? The idea lives in everyone's minds and it is different for everyone, right? Including yourself. But it cannot be destroyed, right? It cannot be something that you can contain in a box. You can't take someone's idea out of their head. Yeah, you can steal people's ideas, but you get what I'm saying, right? You can't, it's not you, right? And the reality of who you are is the actual physical vessel, right? It's the thing that can be destroyed, right? It's the thing that can be contained. It's the thing that can only be in one place at one time, right? And it's going to be the same thing no matter what people's idea of you is. It's not going to change you, right? If you're just standing there. Yeah, you might change yourself over time, but just standing there, someone's idea is not going to change who you are, right? Anyways, the truth of who you are is neither, right? It would be like your soul, right? Your soul is not someone else's idea, right? It's not your idea. It already exists before you could even start formulating ideas, right? And it's not your body either, because your soul cannot be contained or destroyed, right? It lives on beyond this lifetime. So, but it is also, it shares properties with both, right? It is also feminine and masculine. And it's feminine in the sense that it can't be destroyed, right? It's feminine in the sense that it can't be contained. And it's also masculine in the sense that it has a certain identity to it, right? It has a certain imprint to it. It is something that does exist at a certain place in time, right? So this also correlates with more things than just who you are, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, this relates to everything, really. You know, the threes, right? Three's a magic number. So it works in business, relationships, how you view things, career paths, and all these things, right? The idea and the truth in reality, right? And in relationships, these things, it can get so expansive, it can get really convoluted pretty quickly, just because, you know, when it comes to people, just one person's a lot, but when you put two people together, oh yeah, that shit can get even more confusing when it comes to all the stuff and baggage and, you know, agreements and all sorts of things. Anyways, so the idea, right, of a relationship, and any relationship, is what both people kind of come to an agreement about or have some sort of mutual understanding as far as what they're doing, right? Or what's going on, or why they're even together, or what's going on. You know, like what the deal is, right? I like you, do you like me? Is this beneficial? Is this mutually beneficial? Are we on the same agenda? Do we not like each other? Or do we feel a certain way on certain days or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain idea, right? There's a certain culture to a degree, right? And then you have the reality, right? The reality is both the people, right? Both the people either living together or working together or, you know, having a certain set of agreements and them enacting those things, right? Both parties playing their roles, right? Be it a CEO or CFO or the janitor or literally whatever, right? That's the reality, right? It's those two things being together and necessary, right? Those two things are necessary. Those things, two things have to be present, right? In order for this thing to work. That's the reality. And the truth of it is that, you know, with time, all things change, right? And the truth of it is no thing is ever going to stay one way forever, right? The truth of it is, in this relationship, if we're talking just on human terms, you know, time is a factor, right? Time is a huge factor. What people's lives are, what they choose to do with their lives, how much life they have left, and so forth, you know, like investments and all sorts of things. Like the truth of the matter is, you know, there's an agreement here, but that is really the main, like, let's see. the truth of a relationship would be like the time of it, right? What happens with that relationship over time, right? The results of that relationship, right? Like what it ends up being, right? Because you can have all sorts of types of relationships. Ones that would be, at first, the idea sounds amazing, right? And then when the dust settles and we get over the honeymoon phase and we get into the reality of it, it may end up being something where both people are toxic or not good for one another, or mutual, both parties, right? And the truth of it is that wasn't compatible, right? The truth of it was that wasn't something that worked out, or maybe something that ended too soon, or something that lasted too long. But you find out in hindsight, right? 2020, right? So the truth of it is, like, it comes with time, right? It comes with understanding or seeing how these things play out. Same thing with like marketing, right? And companies and businesses, right? Where you have places like McDonald's or whatever, right? Take, for example, the idea of it, right? Everyone has a different idea of McDonald's in their head. Some people think, oh, it's cheap and it's good, it's fun. Or like for me, I'm like, McDonald's is gross. Like, I personally think it smells like garbage. like when it's fresh, like when somebody brings a bag of McDonald's, I'm like, oh, that doesn't smell like food, that smells like garbage. But anyways, that's just my idea, right? But the reality of it is that it's just cheap food, and it's most likely not good for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not good for you. It might cure your hunger for a little bit, or satisfy your hunger for a little bit, but the reality of it's not that good, right? The idea of it, they try to sell you on the idea, right? They want to give you these pictures that look perfect and all this stuff and make it for cheap, so you're getting like a deal. And then the reality of it is, when you actually purchase it and you open up the box with the burger in it, or unfold the wrapping or whatever, you see the burger and it's all like sloppily put together. It's smaller than it looks on the image. There's only like one pickle and it looks all like sloppy and shit. You're just like, somebody just threw this shit together. I'm gonna still eat it. But the reality of it, that's the reality, right? The idea is, oh, like, this looks good. Oh, it's a Big Mac or whatever. I don't know the fuck. That sounds so lame to me anyways at this point. But yeah, but the truth of it is, like I said, the result of that relationship or that transaction, the timing, right? After time, what does that food do to you? You know what I mean? Like, what does it do for you on the back end? Does it back you up? Does it like, is it bad for your body rejects it and so forth? And that's like the truth of it, right? You might get like a cheap meal, but the truth of it is that it's harmful for your body, right? Or it may not be beneficial for you in the long run. And that happens with a lot of things, right? But that's just the way the world works, right? Like we said about ourselves, the idea, you have to have a positive idea of yourself, right? It starts with that. Before anybody else, you can spark the idea for anybody else, and that's just a belief, right? It's just like, the idea is just like the belief, right? It's not really, and people spend money on ideas all the time. Ideas are worth millions and billions of dollars, right? Most of the things that you see now are results of ideas, right? That got turned into a reality, right? So, but there's a lot of manipulation and stuff out there, right? It's like, this world is, a lot of people are making money off of ideas, and they'll sell you on something on an idea, but the reality is not, right? False advertisement, or whatever you want to call it, right? So, and with those kind of situations, you can always tell, because they're trying to sell you on the idea so much, but they don't want you to know the reality or the truth of it, right? It's like when somebody has one thing that's good, they're trying to like kind of mix you up and throw you off. It's because they're trying to hide one of the three, and they're trying to sell you on one. Like, oh, like, look at this, it looks all cool, but you can do this, but you can do that, but like, really though, but like, what does it do, or what's it gonna do for me? Like, oh no, like, we already know it's like, it's harmless, it's biodegradable or non-toxic or whatever, and then that shit will end up being toxic or some shit, you know what I mean? But it's like the same thing with McDonald's or whatever, for example, right? Or whatever. Like, people will try to sell you on the idea, try to make something look better than what it is, and that happens in relationships and shit all the time, right? So it's about having that kind of discernment and looking at these three things, right? Looking at the idea of something versus the truth of something versus the reality. Because you see, a lot of people will get hooked up on the idea. So many people get hooked up on the idea. It happens so quick too. It's like the mob mentality, right? So many people get hooked up like, oh, this person's a terrible person. Yeah, you know what? That person is a terrible person. Blah, 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 blah. And before you know, all these people are sold on an idea. And if anything, it'll start getting reinforced, because they will start to, a lot of people will look at an idea as like the truth, right? And if they see that other people share the same idea, it makes them even more emboldened to follow suit on whatever that idea is, right? You see it happen all the time with like the Nazis or whatever. And these are just all ideas. It's not a reality. And the truth of it is that these things are very dangerous, right? When you get a lot of people that are sharing an idea that may be harmful, but there's no reality or truth to it. You know what I mean? So it's good to have these kind of things with discernment, idea versus reality versus truth. Look at all these things, because once you do, you can do these things. You can use this to your advantage to improve yourself, or improve something else that you want to bring to the world, or improve certain relationships, right? You might be in certain relationships where the idea of it seems nice and the reality of it is not that nice. And so the truth of it is that it might not be something you want to stay in, you know what I mean? But if something of it to where, but it also can work in the opposite direction, right? Where the idea of it's good, but the reality of it sucks, but the truth of it's good. Like something that's beneficial for you, right? Like the idea of working out every day, it's a good idea. The reality of it sucks, but the truth of it is that it's good for you. You know what I mean? So look at these things. Right? Make sure you understand these things and see it for yourself, because it's just the easy way to kind of navigate things a little bit, and also see it for yourself. See how certain people or certain, businesses or whatever the fuck try to operate, and, just be aware out there. Anyways, I don't want this to be too long. I think this is a good time to wrap this video up. Also, shout out to everybody who's been supporting thus far. We recently hit 700 subscribers, and we're not going to stop. Let's get to 700,000 subscribers. First, let's touch that 1,000. All right, y'all. Take care. See you soon. Love y'all. And stay chill. Stay good. Peace.